UK courts could soon no longer be obliged to follow rulings handed down by the European Court of Human Rights under government plans to take back British sovereignty, it has been revealed. Major reforms being considered by the government would see British judges merely have to take European judgments into account rather than be bound by the Strasbourg court's decisions. An independent review into the Human Rights Act, which effectively implemented the European Convention on Human Rights into British law, is considering a number of legislative changes to hand British judges more power in how they interpret human rights provisions. The review was commissioned by Justice Secretary Robert Buckland and is headed by former Court of Appeal Judge Sir Peter Gross. The Telegraph reports that it is expected to publish its recommendations later this summer. Legislative reform of Britain's human rights laws would be consistent with the Conservatives' 2019 election manifesto, in which the Prime Minister Boris Johnson pledged to update the Human Rights Act and administrative law to ensure that there is a proper balance between the rights of individuals, our vital national security, and effective government. Leading human rights barrister Lord Panic-UC has reportedly advocated for the change in approach to prevent UK courts from being bound by Strasbourg, and police chiefs appear to be sympathetic to the change. The Telegraph reports that minutes of a meeting in April between Dame Cressida Dick and the review panel indicate that there is support for Lord Bannock's submission, which suggests reminding courts, through amending the HRA, that their jurisprudence is not binding. The European interpretation of human rights laws to which UK courts are currently bound has long been a thorn in the side of the British judicial system, with then Home Secretary Theresa May first calling for it to be scrapped back in 2011. I'd personally like to see the Human Rights Act go because I think we have had some problems with it, the ex-Prime Minister said at the time. I see it, here in the Home Office, particularly the sort of problems we have in being unable to deport people who perhaps are terrorist suspects, May added. Nigel Farage, who so often has his finger on the pulse of the nation, said in February that current human rights laws are still the major obstacle to Brexit being complete and preventing the United Kingdom from being genuinely in charge of its borders. We have got to have a debate about the European human rights regime, and do you know something? This country doesn't need any lessons from Strasbourg or elsewhere about liberty and about freedom, Farage asserted. We have put together the best and the fairest judicial system in the world, but because of the world of human rights, it seems to me, the rights of bad people often are now superior to the rights of good people.